Hello, everybody, to all of the motorsport enthusiasts all over the world. Welcome to the Super Taikyu Series 2022 Fuji Super Tech 24-hour race. The one and only 24-hour race in Japan is about to start. So, I would like to introduce our special guest today. He will be joining us on this very first journey on the English commentary team, and he has been racing in Japan for a long time. JP Oliveira, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Amy. It's a pleasure to be here in the booth with you. And
Likewise.
yeah, it's so much to go on today, so we're excited.
Yes, and you know, JP, it's in the midst of the season where a lot of 24-hour races are happening. We had the Nürburgring 24-hour last week, and this weekend we have this Fuji 24-hour, and next week we're gonna go to Le Mans 24 hours. So I guess all of the fans who are listening right now, they just did not sleep over the weekends.
Exactly, the three 24-hour races in a row. That's so much action, so much happening. Nürburgring, a lot of excitement last week, and then Fuji 24 this weekend, and then Le Mans next week. So car enthusiasts are for sure very excited.
For sure. So, JP, you also have been racing in 24-hour races in the past. So, I would like to dig into that as well. You also joined the 24-hour race 2 years in a row.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so I did the 24 hours of Fuji in the past 2 years, and the 24-hour Nürburgring once. And yeah, it's 24 hours. You know, there's so much going on in these races. You want to, you want to make sure you have a smooth race. You want to always, protect your car. You don't want to damage anything.
Yeah.
You want to make sure.
All right, JP, there's the
Oh,
national anthem playing.
yes.
Thank you.
Let's listen to it.
Let's listen to that. All right, that was the Japanese national anthem. Sorry, JP, to have cut into you.
No,
That was
yeah.
all of a sudden it popped up.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. So the national anthem just before the race, drivers getting focused. I know that moment. We are in the car listening to that anthem. Memories go through the head, like all
Yeah.
these years for me at least in Japan. And then, yeah, it's always a very traditional time before the race.
3 minutes to go to the race. So Takagi Shinji is the pole sitter, and he will be starting this race from the front row. You, as a driver, how would you feel in Takagi-san's position?
Well, I think, it's the most ideal position to start from, and especially if you have a good car underneath you, you just want to, yeah, I mean, look after the equipment. A 24-hour race requires from the drivers to be also preserving things. They don't want to drive too roughly over curbs, damage any body part, anything. So I'm sure Takagi is one of the most experienced drivers in Japan. He has
That is
so
true.
much experience. He's one of the all-time legends in Japan. So he's the right guy to start in that car that has Martin Barry as a starter of the team for this year, and qualifying the car, also helping to qualify the car on pole. That's a great result for their first 24 hour.
Well, and also this 24-hour race, this is obviously also about racing, but I think it's the whole event. It has this special, unique atmosphere. Oh, there's the start. Okay, that was the official announcement to the start of the race.
We see a lot of people camping, and
Yes,
yeah.
there is. It's very nice. There was a shot of the grandstand earlier, and I was very surprised because Japan was still, in a lot of restrictions. But it's really nice to have all the fans back on the track.
Yeah.
I wish I was there. I haven't been to the track for such a long time now.
We miss you in Super GT. I mean, it's been a few years now that you have been gone from the paddock, but we all miss you in Super
Yes.
GT. And yeah, I mean, it's nice to be here commentating this with you because there's memories
Thank
as
you
well
very
coming back.
much.
So I'm very happy with that.
Such an honor, myself too. And also for all the people who are just watching on YouTube, there is a comment section. So if you just throw in a question, whatever you want to ask, we might be able to answer it. Probably not, but we try our best to
We
to
try.
make this race much closer to you to watch.
Absolutely. So there they go, the safety car.
Yes. Well, I asked you about Takagi-san's position and
Yeah.
how you would feel, but it's just the start of a 24-hour race.
Yeah.
In the world, what would you do if you have 24 hours? And we today are sitting down here and just watching this spectacular race going on for 24 hours.
Yeah, it's such a long race.
So
It's
yeah.
tough. It's so tough for everyone. It's so hard. The mechanics, they're staying awake doing pit stops in the middle of the night. They have to, deal with that. The natural, the body wants to go to sleep, right? But
Yes.
so we have shots early in the morning sometimes in any 24-hour race, and it's the most classic shots when you see mechanics falling asleep and then rushing around and
Trying to
that's
dance it off or doing these
exactly.
morning routines.
It's all part of the 24-hour magic. It's the weather that changes, and I mean in Fuji we might see the weather might be changing.
That is very true.
So
Speaking of weather, it looks very dark. It's only 3 p.m.
That's
now.
right, that's
so,
right.
Ooh, we might get some showers.
Yeah.
Probably. I have
Yeah.
not looked onto the radar, but hopefully not.
Hopefully
Whereas
not.
probably a little bit might be interesting
Exactly.
on the way. So we
Yeah.
will see.
Some drivers might be hoping for some drivers not.
So before earlier, the person who was waving the green flag, that was Fushida-san. He was the one who drove the Le Mans
All right.
for the first time. Yes.
He was, I believe he was, he was the team owner for Indy, the former Formula 3 team.
I believe so, yes.
And, yeah, so it's nice to see him here.
Also, just some facts around this Fuji 24-hour race is that we had it once before in 1964. Did you know that?
Wow, no, I didn't know that.
I looked into it. So after the Tokyo Olympics, because of the infrastructure, the Shinkansen building up, they started doing this 24-hour race, which was, Fuji Speedway, it's very accessible from Tokyo. It's like an hour drive.
Yep.
So it's very accessible, so they thought maybe it might be nice to have a 24-hour race here. So they did that in 1967.
Right.
Yes, they did. And then it happened again the next year, but then they decided not to do it anymore, which was
Right.
very unfortunate.
Yeah.
However, after 50 years, with the developments and the Fuji Speedway track getting to this level, they decided 2018 to do it again. And here we are
Fantastic.
on the home straight,
We're on the home straight. They're starting.
coming back, and Takagi-san taking the lead.
Yeah.
JP, are you ready for this 24-hour Japan
Yeah, I'm
race?
ready.
Ooh, 56 cars.
Yeah, you see people are still coming onto the home straight in the back, the different
have
classes.
The red light is
Yeah.
about to. Oh, the Fuji straight is so long.
It is very long,
Just-
yeah. So
So
let's go
let's
green.
go green.
So Takagi starting in the front
Yeah.
without much trouble to get to turn one ahead.
And into the first corner with no issues. That's
No
perfect.
issues, yeah.
Looking in the back. Ooh, that's a lot of cars. going into the first
Yes.
corner.
All these different classes, and you see there's a distance between the ST1s and the ST2s, and um, the procedure is similar to Nürburgring, for
It
example,
is.
where we have gaps in between the classes, so that you don't get into trouble with other classes into the beginning of the
Yes.
race, right?
Yep.
I think that's the right decision.
Right, and the second group started too.
Yep, it's the Green Brave ahead of the Toyota Lexus.
Great. Very smooth start. You know, if we have 24 hours, we don't want to see cars crashing at this start. You know, it was really smooth, very well. The next group is about to start.
This is the SD4 class.
You know, it's really interesting to see all these different cars, which, you know, all these fans who are watching on this show right now, maybe they're cars they've never seen before.
Yeah, exactly.
Like Japanese cars, probably some which are not driving in Europe or in the US
Yeah.
or anywhere else in the world. So that might be interesting to look into too.
Yeah.
Ooh, Takagi-san is
Yeah.
quite ahead.
Takagi has a very good opening lap, and yeah, still warming up the tires, so it means it's pretty cold down there. And yeah, everyone wants to be sort of keeping a little bit of distance, not going too excited in the beginning of the race, but you see that Lexus approaching the
Oh,
GTR into turn 1.
that is Saga. Saga is trying to overtake the
pass.
62. That's Hiraki Yuya,
Right.
I guess, was the starting driver.
In the GTR.
Ooh, that's
and
a close
Saga in the Lexus.
Wow.
Yeah.
How would you, you know, you want to race obviously, but you also don't want to contact.
Sure.
So
yeah.
it's like a mental game, I guess, for the drivers at this stage.
Yeah, it's a lot of self-control, 24-hour races, you know, and the one thing I wanted to mention earlier is, like, I mean, yes, 24-hour races, we all know that, you know, you want to avoid contacts, you want to avoid damaging the car. But when I drove the 24-hour Nürburgring, I remember the first 3 hours, I did the start. And the first 3 hours, which I was battling with, if I'm not mistaken, it was Marcel Fassler on the Audi, and one of the BMWs, I think it was, can't remember, but anyway, it was a sprint race. We were battling wheel to wheel, door to door on the straight, and I was like, this is unreal. Like, it was such a battle, and you know, they race so hard over there. So yeah, I mean, of course, you don't want to damage, but you also don't want to be behind.
That is very true. So now we see the poles that are overlapping the lower classes, and now the chaos begins, I guess.
Exactly, yeah, because you're approaching the slower cars, and you're hoping that they see you in the mirrors. And yeah, sometimes the difference can be so big between these GT3 cars, the STZ class, STX cars, to the ST5, that the approach is faster than the driver is actually predicting. Then that can cause an accident. So you don't want them to move around under braking, or, you know, like this. I think they mentioned that in the driver's briefing. Don't move too much, because the difference in speed can be quite dramatic.
That is very true. Speaking of, you know, all these different classes, we have that in Nürburgring, we have that in Le Mans, we have that in all of the 24-hour races. Those tracks I just mentioned, they are much longer than this Fuji Speedway track.
Right.
This track is about 4.5
That's
kilometers.
a good point, yeah.
And 56 cars are driving on it. So the density, if you think about that.
You have a very good point here. Very, very good point. And we have 56 cars, which, you know, I mean, when we have a full grid in you know, usually in Super GT or in Super Taikyu, this 24-hour race is the most we have during the year. So yeah, it's very crowded. You can see already in lap 3, they're like passing a bunch of cars on the straight.
You have to weave through them.
Yeah, yeah. Flashing the lights helps. And also, yeah, I mean, helps when the drivers are fully aware of how they should be behaving.
Yeah. Well, it looks like, no trouble so far.
No,
A very
yeah,
clean start. Weather is holding.
yeah.
So let's see where this takes us, I
This
guess.
in the STX class, there's 3 GTRs, and
Mm-hmm.
one of them, the car number 81, as my teammate in Super
Oh,
GT,
yes.
Kyoto Fujinami, and
Fujinami is the B driver, yes.
yeah, I'm supporting him. We'll see how he goes, and
Yes. It's his teammate who is driving at the moment, so let's
yeah,
see when he gets into the car. But yeah, tell me about him.
Kyoto, yeah,
You've been partners since last year?
for
Oh, for
3
3
years now.
years
So
already. Oh my God.
we started, yeah. So 2020 was our first year when we
Mhm.
won the championship,
Yes.
and then 2021 we came second, and this year we're leading again. And he's
Yes.
such a great character. I mean, we're really good friends, and you know, I think one of the main characteristics you want in a Super GT teammate or
Mhm.
in a teammate in a racing car is someone who can share information and be completely frank about, you know, the car and about
Mhm.
and so that we can trust and we have that confidence that we are working together, which is not always the case. You know,
Mm.
motorsports is sometimes, yeah, it's tricky that way. You know, everyone is a competitor, everyone wants to win. So it can be tricky, but yeah, I mean, the relationship with him has been so great that, yeah, I mean, obviously he's young and he's hopeful of moving up to GT 500,
Mm.
and I hope also for him he should have that opportunity. So
Mm.
and
That
now,
is great. That is great to hear.
yeah.
Mhm.
So obviously, you know, winning a championship in the 300, then you know you show your potential.
Mhm.
So I hope that he will get a shot. So we will see. How
Yes.
things go
Hopefully.
into next year.
But I must say, your last GT race, that was wow. You pushed hard.
Yeah, we have the
Incredible
handicap
racing.
weight. We have
That's
yeah,
true.
we have that 66 kilos of weight that also not only just affects your acceleration and braking, it also affects your tire wear because you have so much load into the corners that, you know, it's like you have an extra passenger. So you loading the tires a lot more and you wear them down a lot faster. So Suzuka is already a tough track on tire.
Mhm.
So I was really struggling towards the end of the race, but luckily, I mean, we got on the podium.
Yes.
So
And congratulations.
thank you.
Even though, yes, probably
Thank you.
wanted more.
Thank you.
But
Yeah, an important result for the championship.
yes, for sure, for sure.
So the 2 GTRs battling here. Oh, we have a move from the Raffiné car on the, is that the Endless? Or is that?
It's the 25 car. I'm looking at the live timing.
Right.
It's a lot of cars. I
Yeah,
need to get used to this.
yeah, that's
Yes.
car number 15, Recaro. There's a, yeah, I mean, there's already a good gap between classes and cars, and there's a few battles here and there, and this is an exciting one. We'll keep an eye on them, see if he can pass him back.
So the categorization of the cars, it goes from STX, and then where we have 5 cars, STZ where we have 7 cars, STQ where we have 7, STTCR, and then ST1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I guess. It's so impressive that, all these different categories can drive on one track, whereas probably we should explain what the STX, STZ, and all these alphabets mean.
Yep.
So the STX class, these are machines under the GT3 standards,
Right.
and the STZ under the GT4,
Right.
and the TCR, obviously TCR, and then the STQ. This is the class which does not which are not included in the above. So these are cars who are still in process development, under commercialization and stuff. So this is also a very interesting group to look into.
Right.
Because we find the Corolla,
Yeah.
which drives under hydrogen energy.
Yeah.
This is the only race car on the world who is driving on hydrogen energy at this moment. So this is something we really would like to show to the world, that
Absolutely.
this development is
I'm
happening.
sure that there are many engineers around the world watching this. And
yeah, probably.
you know, they're curious about the performance of that hydrogen fuel car, you know. How is their consumption, and you know, what's the speed, how's the acceleration, how's that car to drive? And yeah, it's a development. Toyota is betting on the hydrogen powered car.
Yes. So also obviously there are
we
two.
have a spin. That's the Raffiné car that was battling the Recaro car.
We are going to see many more spins, I guess.
Yeah.
And it does seem like the temperature is not as high as they expected. Usually it's more, warmer.
Yeah, around this time of the year, for our race, weeks ago, and yeah, I mean, it was probably warmer than it is now. But yeah, I mean, into the night it could get much cooler.
It could. Okay, so going back to the topic of the different classes, I mentioned STQ, STTC are the TCR cars, and then ST 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These are categorized in the power and the engine size. So, that was close.
That's the Grid Motorsport cars. Still leading the race, but they're passing all these different classes.
So here, this is the 32 car. This is the Corolla hydrogen
power
concept. And who do we see here?
Is that Mr. Akio?
This is Mr. Akio Toyota.
Wow.
So he goes by the driver name Morizo.
Morizo?
Yes, Morizo Senshu.
Do you know the meaning of Morizo?
Morizo is this figure.
Okay.
Or this name he uses as a driver. So whenever he's wearing a race suit, he goes by Morizo.
Oh.
So whenever he wears a suit, he goes by CEO of Toyota.
Okay.
Akio Toyota. But so he has this, this switch.
Yeah.
That you are a driver now, and then you are a president of a company now.
Maybe it's maybe it's a thing that, like, he wouldn't like the drivers to feel that kind of pressure to be sharing the car with the president of the company, like, I am Morizo, I'm not Akio, okay? I'm on the track, I'm as Morizo. So, yeah, I mean, definitely.
Yes. And looking at all these previous years, he's been driving the 24-hour race from the beginning. You see quite a huge development in his driving as well. He's getting quicker and quicker. And Sasaki Seishu, the driver Sasaki, is his mentor, per se. So he teaches him a lot of the driving. Apparently, they say it's really incredible how he's catching up with the speed.
I saw years and years ago a demonstration that Akio was doing on the home straight at Fuji, that he was doing donuts. And I was like, oh my God, he's got some real talent behind the wheel. So I think, that the Toyota drivers have some pressure to see their boss doing that kind of stunts on the home straight. I was like, wow, that's pretty impressive. And here we see the Nissan.
The Z.
The Z, yeah. So the Z, which is also a development. The 230 has all the Nissan superstar drivers.
Hirako Kohei, Matsura Tsugiyo, Roni Quintarelli, Sasaki Daiki, and Hoshino Kazuki. What is happening here?
Yeah.
This is an all-star race.
Yeah. And they're followed closely by the 244, which is, just basically the same car.
Wow.
And yeah, I think they're doing development. They are seeing the potential of the car, and perhaps thinking about maybe doing doing some more in the future with maybe probably GT4, or they could be developing other parts. Yeah, it's good to see them here on this grid.
Amazing. I think it's the first time. It would have been the first time if I was at the track to see this car. I haven't been to the track for a long time now, so it's nice to see.
Yeah.
The Nissan Z racing concept.
It's the safety car in Super GT.
It is. I know. Yes.
So.
It looks pretty dope.
Yeah. Yeah. It's very nice lines and very modern look.
I mean, with such a dream team, how is the feeling? You know, it's so different to a race weekend.
Yeah.
If you go into a Super Formula race weekend or a Super GT race weekend, the feeling is so different, right? Is it more like towards the fun part, or obviously you have to race?
Yeah.
But you have these old fellas as teammates.
Yeah.
Well, what's the feeling about that?
Yeah, I think you have to kind of look into it more like, I mean, obviously on the fun side, have fun together, and it's such a teamwork 24-hour racing. And let me see, the first car having some issue.
Oh.
But yeah, car number 72. Coming into the pit slowly. Hopefully he makes it back. Could be a puncture. Could be, yeah, left rear. Looks like left rear puncture.
Okay.
And yeah, but it's such a teamwork, you know, type of race, and you have your schedule. You know, I mean, you hope that your schedule doesn't change, because if you're scheduled to drive at night, you probably should be getting your sleep during the day. And if you get your sleep during the day and they wake you up and say, "Oh, you have to go," yeah. So I guess, you know, it's like a lot of coordination going on, and
physical management is very important as well.
Yeah.
I guess.
Hydration and yeah, staying. A lot of coffee, I think. A lot of
a lot of coffee. A lot of coffee. Red Bull, maybe.
Yeah.
Hopefully I think it's okay.
He's making it
back.
back.
It's
the 5 class.
The Roadstar. Going back into the pits.
Yeah, that's a Mazda.
But as like the atmosphere itself on the track is it's like a festival, isn't it? Seeing all these camp cars, people barbecuing, people, you know, just enjoying themselves. And I think it's also interesting to see all these superstar drivers, as well as, you know, the amateur drivers. They bring families and everything. It's just this whole package itself, having every driver like on this one track for this day.
Yeah, usually in a 24-hour race like this, you have multiple things going on also in the background. You have, you know, events for kids and families, and so that the whole family can enjoy. And I mean, talking like you know, from the Nürburgring, like, I mean, it's got so much going on. It's got like a, you know, there's a, I mean, the parade.
Parade.
The parade lap with fans coming around the track, also such an incredible moment to see everyone just coming from the grass and into the track with flags and so on. And so yeah, so, you know, the Fuji 24 is a relatively young race.
That is true.
More recently,
it's the 5th year, I guess.
Yeah. So compared to these big 24-hour races, so we want to see this 24-hour race getting bigger and bigger in Japan. And it's you know, it's a very unique type of event, and it's an event that requires, as we were saying, so much more from the drivers, and not speed is not the outright factor. The ultimate factor here is about management. So
that is very true. So it's only been 20 minutes.
Yeah. So we have
a lot of
on the STX class, we have the Takagi leading. He's here on the monitor. And then the Lexus RCF GT3 in 2nd place, car number 31. And then we have the Helm Motorsports GTR in 3rd place, car number 62. and then the NP Racing GTR in 4th place, and the Daishin GT3 GTR in 5th place.
Thank you very much,
Yeah.
JP.
Yeah, I was just having an update. I'm
Yes,
checking
thank
here
you.
the order.
Yeah, and then we have a ST1 class car on 6th place.
Yeah.
This is the Lithium Apple Lotus, I guess.
Yeah.
Used to
This
run
Takahashi drive?
no, this is not Takahashi-san. It's Ida-san?
Ida-san.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, so he is
Driving.
leading that class.
Then we have Ogawa Ryo on the STQ class, the Endless AMG GT4. This, yeah. And then the D-Station Vantage.
Yeah, and then in the STZ or GT4 class, we have the Porsche Cayman leading the
Chio
race.
is
Chio.
driving.
Chio-san, who just fresh off his victory in Super GT in Suzuka. A great weekend for him and Takaboshi. You know, remember Takaboshi's accident here at Fuji Speedway.
Yes.
Such a scary moment.
That was very scary.
But to see them recovering with a brand new car, they have a brand new car, and they go out and win the race. So, yeah, definitely a very good moment and a pleasure to see them.
It is. And this is it. This is the Porsche Cayman.
Yeah.
Wow.
Race. I think they heard us. They heard us.
I think they did
Yeah.
hear us.
Yeah.
Thank you.
They put him on the screen for us. Chio-san knows Fuji on the back of his hand, and there we have the Supra GT4 of Shade Racing.
Yes, and this is Hiranaka.
Hiranaka, also an experienced driver from Super GT. Then we have the Gozigen GTR, just coming in 3rd place, the car number 500.
It's Ganesh-san.
And Hitotsuyama Audi R8 in 4th place.
Isn't it amazing to see all these different machines, like manufacturers?
Yeah, it's good to see. It's Porsche, Toyota, Mercedes, and Audi.
Wow.
In GT4. GT4 is an exciting class because it's a young class. It's not sure exactly which year it started, but not too long ago, and the interest from the manufacturers have been quite great. Many manufacturers joining and thinking about joining, so it has become an alternative development.
Very true. Speaking of which car did you drive last year when you were driving in the 24-hour?
I drove with Team Study in their BMW M2, which is a GT4. And I don't think they are in the GT4 this year. They are
not in the GT4.
Yeah, they're in the ST1 class.
Yep. Car number 8, Team Study.
That was actually for me it was a really fun experience racing with them. They have Sunako-san, Kinoshita-san in the team. They're like really funny characters.
Yes,
we were like laughing and joking through the whole background and during the race. So they're really fun team and drivers to work with. So we see a battle here. That's the Gozigen car. And
the Audi.
And the Audi, yeah. So they're going side by side. Just a little squeeze there.
Ooh, very close.
Coming out of turn 1. He just doesn't want to give up that position.
Not so easy.
Not so easy. So.
Yes. Well, you mentioned Kinoshita-san in the BMW. He just returned from Nürburgring. He drove it, and he just returned 2 days ago or something, I guess.
Oh my God.
Wow, that energy, then you go into another 24-hour race weekend. Oh, the Audis.
Yeah.
Right.
They are battling. Oh, they're coming into the V corner quite close.
Is he going to take? Oh, he took it this time.
I think the smart move here for the Gozigen car is perhaps not to fight it too hard if you don't want to have a contact early on. If the Audi seems to have a little bit more pace at this moment. But the drivers are drivers. They're never giving up. Like myself.
Like yourself. That's what we want to see.
Yeah, exactly.
But the team, the team is going to be like, no, don't push too hard.
It's a lot harder to watch, to be honest with you. Like, like watching this, like not being in control of the situation. You sort of wonder, oh my God, can he really make that? Can he really do that? But as a racing driver, in the car, you feel like everything's under control. But everybody's like panicking.
True. Oh, here.
Yeah, but we were talking about Kinoshita-san, and so was it 2 years ago? He had this red suit, and we all had black suits.
Yes. Oh, yes.
And he had the red suit, and I asked him why the red suit, and he said because he's been racing like 50 years or racing. There was a reason. It's 50 years something. Oh, so they already. What are they doing here on the hydrogen?
Oh, that's fueling.
So they're fueling.
They're fueling already. So the thing about this hydrogen Corolla is they have to go to the back to fuel it because the fuel station is just too big to fit into the pits yet. Hopefully, it's the second year of this Corolla hydrogen concept. There have been improvements for sure. So we will see what has been made from last year to this year, and how quick the process might be and what we're looking into the future.
I think that's that's an exciting bet, and it's we might see other manufacturers maybe joining Toyota in this view of having hydrogen powered cars perhaps in the near future. And I mean, how much can they improve from the previous years? This, I think, is a question mark, and we will see that by the end of the race. How was their pace, and so on. So
I think so. This whole project of the hydrogen cars started apparently with Kobayashi Kamui, because but they were obviously developing a car which runs under hydrogen. Obviously, there are a few on the market. The Mirai is on the market already, which drives under hydrogen energy. But then when Kamui stepped into the car and test drove it, he was like, wow, it feels like a race car. Why don't we make a race car out of it? Because I think one of the attraction of motorsport is obviously the vibe, the sound, and everything around that. And of course, it's very important for the environment, and going green and carbon neutral is just the way we should probably think, because then we have the no emission of CO2, but still the sound,
excitement,
and the vibe, excitement. Don't get me wrong, I love Formula E as well, but listening to Kamui saying that, who also drove in Formula E, and then comparing it, for me as a motorsport enthusiast, it makes sense that it is something a manufacturer should work on. Even though there's, at the moment, cost efficiency and everything, that's a topic to probably talk about, but still, it's really for the future. This project, I think it's just amazing, and the world should see it. Like hydrogen.
I agree, and I think manufacturers are considering looking into that option, and the one thing that we cannot leave out of motorsports is the excitement that it brings to the track. When you go to a street circuit or to a circuit, you want to hear the cars, you want to feel it. I so many times as growing up as a kid, you go to the circuit and you hear when I went to a Formula One, I had goosebumps all over, because actually it feels like the ground is vibrating when they're on the grid about to start the race, because the engines, they're revving so high, and that is something that I think should be kept in mind when doing all these developments that we're doing. Just something that will excite the fans, and something that will just still provide that sound atmosphere that we need.
Very true. So the Corolla hydrogen car is refueling, and I think the next driver is going to be Toyota Daisuke, who
Oh.
is the son
Yeah.
of Morizo.
Wow. So
Isn't it nice? Like, this is a family activity.
it is. I don't know if there is any other manufacturer in the world with father and son, president and son, racing a 24-hour race
Oh
in
my
their
God.
car. You know, that's incredible.
That's incredible.
Yeah, and yeah, we know Akio's got really good pace actually in a race car. You know, he's quite impressive, and yeah, what about Daisuke? So he's jumping in, right?
He's jumping in,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay. So we will see.
I remember 2 years ago when I was pit reporting for the 24-hour race in Fuji. I remember he was the start driver.
Right.
Daisuke, the son, was the start driver, and it was the very first time for him to start a race. So sweating all over and just very nervous.
Yeah.
But he made it. So there is also, as a driver, obviously he works in the company as well, but
Yeah.
there's so much progress
Yeah.
I see over the years. It's amazing.
Yeah. This is a car number 2, the Lotus. Going through the other classes here. Is he leading? Yes, he's leading the ST1 class.
It's
So,
tight.
yeah.
I remember I really liked the sound of the Lotus in
Yeah.
the Super GT series as
Yeah,
well. It
yeah.
has this unique sound.
Yeah.
Probably you can hear it in the back.
Yeah. You know, like all these different sounds that really, I think, the fans want to hear. That you want to hear that high pitch sound. You want to hear
Yeah.
that V8 sound. You want to hear the more ground engine, and it's all part of the fan excitement. So yeah.
Yeah. So this driver of the Lotus, he is driving in Super GT too.
Yeah.
He is.
That's the D station. That this year they are not racing the STX class as usual.
Mm-hmm.
They are racing
ST1.
ST1.
Mm-hmm.
S
That's the D station
Yeah.
Vantage GT8R.
They're in second place. Yeah, they're racing the GT8R.
Yes. Wait, aren't they going to be in Le Mans next week? I think they are.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
How
I
can you
mean-
do 2 weeks in a row?
You know, I know Fuji-san, who is a driver and
Yes.
also he's directing the team, and he's a very busy man, I tell you, because once you do both things, it is very challenging because drivers, you have to focus on the race, and the background, the team has so much work to do as well. So he's a very, very busy man for sure.
For sure.
We see who's going through there. And how close are they to the ST1? So the Lotus ahead.
So 6 seconds.
Yeah,
I guess.
no, it's about, I would say, I think it's,
That's pretty close.
let's see here. They haven't crossed yet, so.
Yes. Well,
Um,
obviously, yes, a lot of cars starting to pit in as well. Changing
Yeah.
drivers. There's this rule about the drivers, how long you are actually allowed to drive or how long you have to drive. The categorization of the drivers you see on the list, you have platina drivers, gentleman drivers, and expert drivers. And there's also specific categories for the international drivers.
exactly.
Oh, where we should mention one international driver.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
We have a very special one.
We have a very special one from WRC coming in.
WRC.
I really wonder when he is going to drive the car. Yeah.
Yeah, he is Yarimati Lavala.
Latvala.
He's
Pretty sure a lot of fans are watching.
he's an 18-time winner of the WRC event, and I mean, it really, it's hard to make an introduction of him. He's
it's very hard.
a very
Legendary,
experienced,
yes, very experienced
driver.
And,
Has
yes.
a lot of victories. He has a lot of experience in motorsports, but yeah, it's good to see him making this switch and driving, you know, on asphalt. Only on asphalt this time.
That's very true. Maybe there is, I don't know, some talks about getting hydrogen energy into WRC. Well, probably might be
So
interesting.
that could be something else. Yes.
Something funny I just noticed. So he is a new driver to this race, obviously. Do you think he had the rookie lecture before the race? That would That's
I
very
think
possible. Maybe we should ask.
to put him in a rookie test would be like, okay. He's I'm sure that he has a lot of speed and is a very competent driver. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how he goes here in this race, and what will be his comments and after the race, and what will he bring back to WRC.
Yeah. Sorry, JP. I was saying the Cynthium Apple, just a fan who is watching, corrected me.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's not a Lotus, it's a KTM. So it's up to that.
So I
think it's still in my veins.
It's in both of our minds, because that car has been completely like colored as the Lotus. So we have been just a little bit fooled here. It's okay.
Well, obviously, it's for us, you know, the first time to do this. It's quite a new challenge.
So many cars.
So many cars, so please
bear with us.
Bear with us. Thank you very much. No, it's great. You know, this is like everyone is interacting. I love this fact about YouTube viewing, because you can get the live comments.
Yeah, we get the feedback.
So
please,
please ask questions.
Please correct us, and please ask us questions. Send it, and we will talk about it.
Yeah. All right. So who do we have on track now? This is
Helm Motorsport car number
STX
62. That's Hiraki. Let's see who started the race.
Yeah, I guess so. He did start this Helm Motorsport project, I guess, with his brother.
Yeah. They're in P3 at the moment. So, you know, I think the teams have different strategies. Like, teams are thinking about the whole 24-hour race. So sometimes they put the less experienced driver to start and, you know, try to perhaps not lose ground too much in the beginning, and then put the most experienced towards the end, use the hours more, you know, spread it out, because as you were mentioning before, a platinum driver, I was qualified as a platinum driver. So if we have two platinum drivers in the team, both of us can only do a total of 9 hours.
Oh,
so,
that's right.
You know, and if you have 4, 5 drivers in the team, the other 2 or 3 have to share the remaining 15 hours, right? So then
a lot of calculation around.
Yeah, there is a calculation, and teams have to think about what is the best strategy. Do they put on their top drivers right away and then burn all that time allowance that they have? Or do they wait and choose a strategy that they're going to be faster towards the end?
Interesting.
So
Which one did you do, by the way?
We so I started the race and then I drove in the middle of the night. So and I was sharing the car with Ara-san, who's also a platinum.
Oh,
So we
Anastasia-san,
yeah, and so we drove mostly at night, and yeah, the night is long, and you want to stay out of trouble, and so
It is literally long compared to other 24-hour
right,
races
yeah,
in the world
because
because of the, you know,
the position,
the
right?
position of, yeah, the sun sets quite early, around
That's
like
right.
6, 7 p.m.
We have, I think, at Nürburgring. I remember um, our car didn't last that long, to be honest, but you
Oh,
know,
I
it was
remember that.
funny. I had the 3-hour stint, and
Mhm.
I think we were running P10 or 11, and I went to sleep. And when I woke up, our car was out of the race. Um, but yeah, as Nürburgring and Le Mans, you have the sun rising, like, and you have at
The
Le Mans.
sunset, yes, it's like 10, 11 p.m.
Right, yeah. It stays light that long, and then and sometimes in Nürburgring you see that beautiful sunrise like at like 3 a.m. or like
Yes.
you know
The
and
night is so short.
the night is short, and some parts of the track are still very dark because you're heading against the sunrise, and some other parts are bright
Mhm.
because you're heading towards it. So then it creates this effect, a lot of lights, and you
Yeah.
know the Bathurst the Bathurst 12-hour also has that. That's the sunrise and sunset. We start the Bathurst, I think it's like 5 a.m. I was like,
Oh,
oh my God.
that's
So
early?
we are waking up at like 3 as drivers going to the track. So everybody's like, who will be the starting driver? You know, not me, not me. So
It's obviously not a good morning, I guess.
yeah,
You
so
know, to
early in the
start that
morning.
early. Wow.
Yeah, but I think Fuji, we have the longest night then,
I
probably.
think so too.
Right. So, but
That's interesting. So you drive during night, or you drove during night last
Yeah,
year? Because
yeah, yeah.
obviously it's safest if a professional driver,
yeah,
a platinum
you
driver,
yeah,
drives it.
want to stay out of trouble at night, and yeah, but Fuji also has good illumination, good lighting, so you get get really good visibility. In a track like Nürburgring, you sometimes you're guessing, you're guessing, like it's like, oh my God, it's like you're really
Wow.
hoping that sometimes there is no oil on the track or nothing that you
Oh my
cannot
God.
see, and that's what makes it like so thrilling. As a driver, it really feels like you're in a 24-hour roller coaster, because it's like, and it can go off rails any moment, right? Because it's like,
It can.
yeah, it's bumpy, it jumps. There is no space, no runoff area. Um, yeah, and
Quite scary.
quite
So
scary.
you must really have the whole map in your
Yeah.
brain, and just go with your feelings, I guess.
Yeah, but there's so many corners that if you have any information coming from the engineer in the pits saying, "Oh, there's a yellow flag or a code 60 zone
Mhm.
at Wipperman, for example," which is the name of one of the corners. But if you don't remember the name of that corner,
Yeah.
you're wondering, where is that? It's like one of the
Something.
178 corners around the track. So you want to be sure that you study at least the corner names. And Fuji, as you mentioned, is very compact. So, but there's also good space, So you see when there's traffic around the straight, that they can go almost 5-car wide. In Nürburgring, in the Nordschleife, you can go sometimes only 2-car wide, So that creates chaos.
Yes. Sorry, the Yaris was battling around, just being a little bit
Yeah.
close to
Yeah.
the leader.
Yeah. So we have, is that car?
That's the 225.
Right.
That's the Yaris KTMS GR Yaris.
So that's not the Lotus there. Let's make that clear.
That's not the Lotus, that's the KTM.
That's the KTM.
No, we know for the next 20.
Stand corrected.
3 hours, I guess. Wow, but you know, so that's why we call the Nürburgring race the Green Hell, I guess. And you have experienced that, and then you have also have experienced the Fuji 24-hour race night scene. I have seen the onboard of the night ride in the Fuji 24 hours. I think that was your GT partner, Fujinami.
Okay.
He's uploading a lot of onboards.
Yeah.
So if anyone's interested, please just jump there and see how the night will be. It's quite not as light as you want it, I guess.
Yeah.
But still, you just watch out for all the other cars around and probably.
Yeah. Well, it's it's the thing about here. There is some lighting and it's also a lot more predictable compared to the big tracks like Le Mans, Nürburgring. So you're going around more often, so you were seeing what's going on almost every lap, and whereas Nürburgring, it takes almost 8 to 9 minutes to come back around that same point. So a lot can happen within that period, right? 8 minutes, all the cars going through, and there's an oil spill or something, and this whole thing can turn into a chaos. But Fuji, all these drivers, a lot of the drivers here are Super GT racers and drivers with experience in Super Taikyu. So a lot of very experienced drivers that for sure know the evening, know the night.
True. Since you just mentioned a lot of professional drivers, almost not almost, but a lot of Super GT drivers are here, and also these people who are here on the spot, who are not here during the season, they come into the 24-hour race with the hope to just be able to race with a star, a superstar such as yourself. And it's just so incredible that those people who you were looking up to are just on the same track right now.
Yeah.
That's another thing I really want to point out, because as we mentioned earlier, the dream team, those are all drivers who anyone would like to race
Right.
with.
Yeah.
And that's something nice to see here too.
Yeah.
At the same time, I would be very scared, I guess, like, oh, I cannot do something wrong.
Yeah, but that's all part of that's all part of racing. We all have that feeling of a little bit of anxiety if you don't know you don't know what's ahead, right? If we're starting in a new series with new cars, a new kind of race against drivers that you don't know, it can be nerve-wracking a little bit. Yeah, so far the race is going very smooth.
Very smooth.
We haven't seen any
issues, nothing
issues
at all.
Yeah.
That's great. And still Takagi is leading with quite a gap to the front. So I guess he's cruising at the moment.
Yeah. He has the fastest lap of the race so far, 42:35, and the Dentsu Lexus in second place, only 5 seconds back.
Quite impressive.
And then the Helm Motorsports a little bit further back, quite a bit further back, 48 seconds behind.
So JP, tell me about this car number 888, Takagi-san. You mentioned I think you know the owner.
Yeah. So Martin Berry, he's
also a driver.
He's one of the drivers. He's started the team, and he's a motorsports passionate. One of those people that really fuel motorsports, because we need people that bring that kind of passion and love cars. And so he's venturing into this series, and a driver himself. So obviously, for him is he's double duties as a team owner and driver, and doing both things. It's like I said about Fuji-san. It's very hard to manage both things. But yeah, they started on pole. They're leading the race. They're doing very well so far,
Amazing.
and they have some good drivers there. And yeah, we're looking forward to see how they go.
It's really the passion and the love people put into motorsport is I love it so much.
Yeah.
You
yeah,
are an entrepreneur and at the same time you're a driver.
Yeah.
Why
Yeah.
not have it all, you know? It's just so amazing.
Yeah, because I mean,
true
motorsports, it has that effect on people. You know, when they come to the track, you see usually like 'cause sometimes on the races we have those VIP rooms or hospitality rooms, and we see a lot of guests and people that are either sponsors or they're coming in saying hi and they're sharing their excitement. Oh my God, I never thought this. I would feel this, or I never thought I love this so much. And yeah, it gives people that effect, and then if they can, they can venture in themselves. They can go and try and race themselves, and motorsports is accessible if you have the means, of course. But yeah, it's anyone can try, and yeah, I mean, all these different classes. There's I think the S3s and 4 and 5, lower budgets, more accessible. So try.
Anyone can try. That's very true. So there are obviously a lot of, striving and trying to become. If you look at the profile of all these drivers, their dream is being a Formula One driver, or just go to the upper class, just drive and stuff. It's so nice to see them performing,
Right.
and so many just entering just with the hope of driving with the others and just getting better at the sport. It's really nice.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, as young drivers, the goal is always to reach Formula One and to go realize your dream. But motorsports is it as you go on with your career, you realize that there are other alternatives to professional racing, and that GT. You can do what you love and be a professional and be recognized for it. So
That's
we have
the 81 car.
Yeah.
The GT Net.
Let's see who's jumping in.
Daishin GT3
They
DTR.
had a driver change.
Who is in the car? I think it's really interesting. The super, not the super GT. I always mention that having you next to sitting next to me. The Super Taikyu series for the 24 hours race, they started to show the how do you say, the ranks on the oh my God, correct me.
Yeah.
The ranks on the window.
Right. Yeah.
That's something new they started.
Yeah. It's a lot easier to right away you see where the car is. I mean, I think and the numbers are big, so the fans around the track can also see it and know what position the cars are.
They started that 2 years ago, and it's quite nice because here you can see, right?
Yeah. I saw that actually at Daytona, and they have that when I visited Daytona a couple of years ago. I saw that and I thought, wow, that's really, really cool. It really helps you understand
It does.
where each car is on the track.
So I hear from the Japanese commentary team, it's Fujinami in it.
Fujinami
Yes,
going. That's
he's
good.
going.
Yeah. So so they lost a little bit of ground in the first stint of the race, and I think they are They're 2 laps behind at the moment, so they want Fujinami to try and recover some ground here. And obviously the other teams ahead probably started with more experienced drivers, but they do have to change into the less experienced drivers, and then Fujinami has a chance to probably catch up. Maybe not that much, we'll see. But yeah, so this is the interesting factor of driver time allowance that restricts the teams to keep them from running only one driver for too long in the race. Yeah.
Interesting. Let's see how much he can catch up.
Yes.
It's one lap. 1 lap and 4 seconds. No, that's 2 laps now.
Yeah, 2 laps down. But
of course, yeah, he pitted, so of course. Let's see.
Yeah.
Are you like? Sorry if I'm asking all these questions.
Please do.
I'm just so interested. So when you step into the car and they tell you what your mission is, or is that just something understood naturally, or how does it work?
I think I mean, yes, you have to, basically, as a driver, you're doing pretty much everything the team asks you to. But it's important that in your mind, you are being asked the right things to do. But that's all about, that's that synchrony with the team. That's good understanding of each other. And one of the things that I believe we've been blessed in Super GP for the last 3 years is that each one in the team understands exactly their job and their position during the race weekend. So me and Fujinami, we know in free practice what we have to do, each one of us, and then going into qualifying and race, we know basically the procedure of how the weekend is going to go, and then that that synchrony with the engineer is so important, that you must be well synchronized and feeling each other well, so that you don't like have different opinions at some point.
Because you are obviously also rivals at one point, looking, I don't know, at like who's faster or so ever. But in Super GT, it's all about the package. So
Right.
It's so wonderful to hear that. Oh, there's one car slowing down apparently on the track.
Let's see.
Let's see.
Yeah, maybe that's.
Is it that one? No.
I don't think so. What?
I hear that Yasuda is on.
Yasuda.
Yasuda Hironobu. The Yasuda we know, I guess.
Yasuda is
Yes.
is another of my former teammates in Super
Oh,
GP.
yes,
He
yes, of course, of
he-
course.
is Yasuda is a very good friend of mine. Oh, we have the 244 slowing down.
It's the Z slowing
That's
down.
the Z.
Oh, it's the
He has a
puncture.
he has a front left puncture, so
That can be fixed.
that can be fixed. And I think for the 24-hour, you just don't want to drive too fast with that flat tire and damage anything. So come in slowly.
Wouldn't that affect, like, he is a platinum driver, I guess, for sure. So now you have to think strategic, whether you just keep on pushing with him or put him out.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so it's not that you just go in with a strategy and then that you can keep going on. If something happens, you need to adjust, right?
That's right.
Oh,
That's right. So,
interesting. Yes.
but it's also, I mean, you have a strategy. You basically have plan A, B, kind of. You can't do too many different plans,
A,
and
B,
you
C,
tell the
D,
drivers,
E.
okay, things might change here or there, but in general, you're driving at night. In general, you're driving here
okay.
and there, because you want the drivers to kind of schedule their sleep in with appropriate time, because you don't want to like wake someone up at 2 a.m. and say, hey, you gotta go in the car, and like you still be
That's a little bit hard.
dreaming when you jump in, right? It's like 3 coffees and go. But yeah, I mean, it's hard, but
Well, obviously they just changed drivers.
they changed drivers, so they took the opportunity of that
the tire change.
refuel, and they can go longer now, and they're going to use probably this whole stint and use the driver's allowance time. And, yeah, so Yasuda still have plenty of time left, I believe. I don't have the categorization, so I don't know if he's platinum or gold or, but.
Yasuda. Oh, it doesn't say on my sheet here.
Yeah.
Probably. So, yep, we have 1 hour checked of the list.
1 hour through 23 to go.
to go.
Everyone excited?
Everyone excited? Yes.
23 to go.
Well, as said, if there are questions or anything, just throw it into the chat and hopefully I can find questions here so that it can be answered.
Send it through the chat and we will Google it and answer it.
That's an option. I have my PC open.
We will do our best with our knowledge.
Yes. It's so, obviously COVID made it happen that all these races are available on broadcast, I guess. And there's so much happening this weekend. Again, it's the 24 here. I think we have the Formula E race this weekend as well. It's just, amazing that we can follow this on screen.
Is this the first time that there is an English broadcast?
Yes, it is.
This is the first time, so
that's why we are weaving through it, I guess.
We are making history then,
We are making history. Yes, we are.
That's cool.
Thank you for your support. I know I need to work on my skills a little bit more, but it's been amazing. Listening to all of your stories and all of the back stories which we would never hear of.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Because I have been to 24 hours races before, but as a pit reporter, obviously, so watching it.
Yeah.
But you are the one who's driving it, so I think the context is a little bit different. How I feel it and how you feel it.
Yeah.
And it's been great to have the questions answered.
And I wonder for you how it feels like. I mean, because usually you are in that environment. You're hearing the cars. You are running around. There's a bit of chaos in the pits, and that's and you're also running. You literally running around, right? Compared to being here in the studio, that must be quite a change.
That's quite a change. The biggest change is probably my weight, I guess. I stopped running in the pits.
Yeah.
No, it's just a joke, but it's so different.
Yeah.
To be honest, you see more on the screen as you see from the pits, right?
That's right.
In the pits, you just follow the lap sheet.
That's why in the Monaco Grand Prix, you see the people in the yachts actually watching the race on TV. They're like,
that is the cleverest thing to do, I guess.
Yeah, you see a lot more on TV. But yeah, we just had the Monaco Grand Prix, and I have friends who were there, and
that was an amazing race.
That is an amazing race. That is always but every time, people who even been there for so many years, they all say access is so difficult. They're so tight on how many people can walk through, paddock. There's almost no walkthrough, so it's like there's a lot of control, and it's a very let's say restricted event. Because there's so many celebrities going. There's so much energy around that race.
That is very true.
Right? I only see celebrities posting on their Instagrams, and like F1 has really picked up a bit after they started that Netflix show.
Yes, and I think more people from more nationalities are watching it now because of the Netflix show.
Yes. Yeah.
It's just so much fun watching. I really wish that there's going to be a Netflix show on Super GT someday.
Yes, there is enough drama. There is enough drama. They don't have to add the drama.
They don't have to add it.
I think they should do an episode only on Kazuyoshi Hoshino. Like, I mean, anyone
on Earth.
Anyone who would know him knows what I'm talking about. Hoshino is yeah, I mean, a legendary team owner in Japan who um, has, you know, a pedigree of racing in Japan that is second to none. And he's a very passionate man who loves motorsports. Motorsports runs through his veins, and you know, and you see his reaction all the time. It's like how he responds to action going on track. And yeah, so I drove for him, so I know that feeling. Being around him, you feel that energy. It gets warmer actually. Is that
temperature
is heated up?
Yes, it's heated up. But you know, it really depends on the context. When I have an interview with him, sometimes he's like this really sweet, like, you know, he's a dad to Kazuki,
Yes.
and just a sweet man.
Yes.
But then when the race starts, it's like he's completely, you cannot interview him, or you just cannot approach him. He has his aura when it starts. Like, it's incredible. How does he do that?
He really gets into the race. You know, he really like he's fully on board with what's going on in the race. As a driver himself, he can really understand what the driver is doing, and you know, he's really hard on the driver actually, because now we see the GT3s fighting here. That's actually
that's pretty close.
Well, so actually he's a lap down. The MP Motorsport, car number 9, and being lapped here by Takagi. I think Takagi's still in the car. So yeah, but a very good start for Grid Motorsport. But the Denso Lexus following closely, only 4 seconds left. But still a lot to go, a lot to happen in this race.
Fujinami is catching up.
Yeah.
A lot.
Yeah.
Oh, it's not gonna be far anymore.
We can see fastest lap after fastest lap from Fujinami, and you see the red sector in sector 1. That's the fastest of the race so far. So he is putting in some really strong lap times, and yeah, at the moment he is lapping at 42.5 compared to Takagi on a 43.6, but I think that he has fresher tires than Takagi because they changed. And yeah, so be interesting also to see the strategy with tires. Can they last more than one stint? We will see when they come for the next time.
I'm wondering, how long are you allowed to stay out? How many stints? 2?
Well, it depends on your driver, your category, right? So
right?
I think the most allowed, obviously, are the bronze drivers. They have more track time, and then silver, gold, and platinum. So platinum is usually you really leave it for the very important times of the race: the start, night, maybe finish. But yeah, you see Fujinami there trying to recover that time loss in the first stint, and
he's doing quite well.
Yeah, he's like weaving through the traffic, and yeah, trying to keep that strong pace. He just lapped the 42.1, which is by quite a margin the fastest time of the race at the moment.
Amazing.
So is.
What type of driver is he? Is he like the type who just doesn't say anything while driving, or I mean, you hear the radio, right?
Yeah. To be honest, I don't stay on the radio too much. I just kind of focus on my part of the race, my stint. I just watch mostly him driving, and he's got this teamwork character that I really like about him, that he shares everything that he knows.
Oh, and interesting. Wow.
He's quite open and quite frank. So this is, I think, one thing that has built trust between us. And, you know, because not often you have drivers that share everything and are so open. And now we have a car in the garage.
Oh. Oh
that?
no.
Oh, he has no wheel on the front.
Where
Left.
did the tire go?
The tire is somewhere else.
Ooh.
Can he make it
And
back?
hit.
Well, that's
Ooh.
not Latvala, because I mean he would be
No.
familiar with that kind of
He would've been-
that kind of driving.
Nope.
But
Car number 11.
car number 11, ambitious
Vicious
racing.
Ooh, but don't leave them, like, you know, you don't want pieces.
Yeah.
And that
You have to be careful because look, I mean the brake disc is hitting the ground, and that can, I mean they might have to change the brake discs. And
yeah.
so, yeah,
Oh, I think their pit is all the way in the back.
at the back. So,
Hopefully.
so yeah,
Scratching
just-
it off. Maybe slow down a little bit.
yeah, it's the driver never really knows, you know, like you as a driver, when you're watching, you can see, oh, there's a rear wing missing, or there's this or that. The driver is like, I can go, you know, but you have to be aware. That's what experience gives you. Gives you that knowledge. If you got a flat tire, or if you, sometimes you can actually predict, like if you have that good
Oh,
sense,
really? Oh,
you
wow.
can kind of feel that you're gonna have a tire bust, and by that time you're gonna start feeling the vibration that could last maybe half a lap or maybe 2 laps, and you know that's about your trust. And in the last GT race at Fuji, we had a tire bust on my stint into the last sector.
Oh, yes, yes.
Coming into the pits, and yeah, so when that happens, off the throttle and just dose the car slowly into the pits. Don't damage anything. The most important is not going to be those 10 seconds that you gain coming into the pits,
Yes, very
but
true.
having a car to race the rest of the race.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. Because you know, you are very experienced. You know at that moment what to do. And so, like the car before, he, I think, just learned his lesson what to do.
Yeah, well,
so
you know,
in the future,
a race is a
easier.
race. Everyone takes it different. You know, it's part of, you know, one, it can be experience, but also, yeah, I mean, drivers have, you know, a stronger character. They're like, I just want to go and push, but sometimes you have to lift to.
Very true. So I was wondering why the Corolla is on screen this much. I think they heard us again. It's Latvala in it.
Is it? Oh,
Gary, yes.
that's nice. So
He's in there. It's his first stint.
yeah. So here is a legend of the World Rally Championship, and it's an honor to have him in Japan. As I believe it's the first time that he's racing in Japan, at least in a road race like this.
Well, so the Rally Japan is happening, hopefully, at the end of the year. So he was kind of looking forward to it. And then it's an honor for him to just be in Japan before that.
Right.
So, yeah. It's really nice to have, you know, international travel back. It was harder before.
Yeah. Last year, we had Mika Salo in this event.
Oh, yes, we did.
Right?
Oh.
So we need more.
We need more of those, you know.
Yeah, more well-known drivers coming and bringing light and shine to this event.
Very true. I'm very curious what he says about this car, how it feels, and how he would connect it to the WRC series.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the WRC is, you know, I mean, it's a completely a different type of event, and but in some ways, it has characteristics which a 24-hour race is needed. I mean, the rally driver has to finish to win for, like, to win he must first finish, and you know, of course in car racing as well, but in rally more than anything, you really need to keep the car in one piece. It's such a tough kind of racing that you're going through different kinds of asphalt and
very tough.
dirt and gravel. So having that experience it definitely helps.
It does. And from what I heard of is the motto of the Toyota Yaris
Yeah.
is that you just break it to make it better.
Right.
So they always go with the slogan like "motto ii kuruma zukuri," which means like you just go max, and then just even if you break it, you just make it better and come back.
Right. Yeah.
So that's kind of a slogan, I think.
That's a good approach.
Mhm.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, you're learning either way.
Mhm.
If you don't push the limit, you might not learn where the limit
That
is.
is very true.
Right?
But then again, you need to have the people who are actually skilled enough to
Right.
just make
Yeah.
it better.
Yeah, and understand where they can push and what, and when the timing to push.
And also listening to the driver, what he feels and what he wants is
Right.
also, so yeah.
So that's a pit stop for the Green Brave. Car number 52 is in P1 in the ST3 class.
Oh.
They are leading the ST3
That was
class.
Yoshida.
That car has also Naoki Hattori in driving.
Yes.
And he's our race director
He
in Super
is.
GT. Everyone is very kind to him.
Hattori-san, yes.
I think all the drivers are very, very kind to him. Make sure you say good morning to Hattori-san. And
Make sure be a good person in front of him.
Yes, of course.
And yeah, he's still driving. That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, this team is also, you know, for Super GT fans, it's like a dream team.
Yeah, you have,
Green
you know,
Brave.
in Japanese motorsports, you see some of the sponsors, they kind of become the image of the team, and throughout many years, you know, for example, you see the Cowsonic in GT
Yes.
in Super GT, and you associate it immediately with Shino and Impel. Is such a, you know, a long time sponsorship. Epson with Nakajima Racing, you know, and so those, you know, things stay in the minds of the fans and so on. So they support, you know, even if it's a different race, but they see their car and that sponsor there, and they associate it immediately
Very
with
true.
that, right?
The bond is just so strong
Yeah.
that you just connect it
Right.
to each other.
This is the Raffine team, the Raffine Z.
Very Raffine team, yes. That was Natori Teppe, who there was a driver change, I guess.
Yeah, they were
Three.
about to drive, and they also have the Nissan Mechanical College partnership,
Yep.
which is something that we have in Super GT in our team.
Oh,
And it's a project that started a few years back in 2020, and you get these young mechanics to come to the track and have opportunity to work with the more experienced mechanics, and they work in different dealerships all around Japan. So they are learning, from the pro mechanics, from the race experienced mechanics, about all aspects of the car.
that is such a great program because you get to be there.
Yeah.
And then you see how in this really short amount of time instance how mechanics should be, you know, determining what's wrong or working on which factor and stuff. That is
And
good education.
they also aim to come and be a race mechanic or a chief mechanic or an engineer in Super GT or a Super Taikyu. They want to move up in, you know, so I guess being a race car mechanic is quite challenging. You know,
It is.
I mean, there's so many responsibilities to get the car ready on time and do the right work. So we see Helm Motorsports, the number 62. I'm not sure if they had the driver change. We didn't see it on the monitor.
Oh, probably not. Probably a double stint.
Yeah.
It's possible. Now we see the pits are quite busy at this moment.
Yeah,
a lot of
it's just a window now.
changes, yes,
Everyone,
going on.
a lot of cars coming in after 1 hour and 20 minutes of racing. It's about, yes, about right that, you know, it's 1 hour and 20, a lot of cars can run. for an hour and 20 here.
Oh, for the 888 car, it's Martin Berry.
All right, so Martin in the car.
Martin in the car.
We'll keep an eye on him.
Mm-hmm.
He's rejoining the race from second place, and I think that's due to the pit stops that but they're now leading again. So that we just saw the car number 62 pit, and he appeared in front just for that lap, but then once.
Oh, that was quite ahead. He just passed. Oh.
Yeah. So this is the MP Motorsport, the car number 4, I believe. That was
number 9.
That is Latvala.
This is Latvala.
Yeah.
Yes.
Latvala. Latvala.
Latvala.
Finish.
Latvala.
Finish.
I hope so.
That is one of the most difficult languages I have ever
truly, yes.
heard near me. I really, I've heard many languages, but Finn is very, very tough. Very tough. I had a Finnish teammate a long time ago in German Formula 3, and he used to, every time we go back to the hotel, he used to speak to his dad on the phone and on the car speaker, and I was wondering, is this actually from this earth? I was really surprised. It's such an incredible language, difficult to understand. That's Akio.
Yes, this was the press conference coming into this weekend, where he explained why they keep on challenging with the hydrogen energy, and as we said before, the reason, the sole reason is because we need more options to, for driving more green, and that is one of the options. It's also, they are obviously working on electric cars as well, but they just want more on the table to present to the world in the future, because in some continents it's possible to do, and in some it's not. So he wants to have a lot of option in every country.
Much respect to Toyota for being a pioneer in this hydrogen powered car. They, if others don't start soon, they might have quite a bit to catch up later.
That is very true. That is very true.
Considering how much development they have been doing. So
so it's been a year since this hydrogen with racing started, and by in 23 hours now, we will see what the progress was. So that's something we should keep an eye on as well.
Yeah, we have comparison of how the consumption was last year and lap times and so on. So I think that's all details that matter to them. Is it the consumption? Is the speed, acceleration? All aspects of the development that they are working on, trying to make step forward. They have to go right there at the end of the pit lane.
Yes, so they can go into the back. Oh, there was another press conference of Nissan as well.
Yes.
Let me finish by saying Nissan is committed to the legacy of
that was Mr. Katagiri there. And this is the Nissan COO, I believe.
So I think, yes, they came in to present these two vehicles. And they are using carbon neutral fuel. Apparently so. This is why they are in this class.
That is Mr. Gupta from India, and he's a COO of Nissan.
So they are also working on the synthetic energy to go more carbon neutral, which is great. Last year it was one manufacturer. Now we have many more. Mazda is also in this class, where they use a different fuel than gasoline. And also Subaru is also there with the BRZ.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And you know what? Actually, the Super Formula is also working on
Yes,
more
driving
green. Yeah, so they're doing development at the moment with 2 experienced drivers, and with Tsukakoshi and Ishiura, and both, giving feedback about the fuel and the different parts of the car that are more bio composed.
Yes.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's I think, I don't know, probably when we sit back in 10, 15, 20 years and we remember this race saying, oh, this was when it all started.
Exactly. Yeah. You know, yeah. So I think it's great to see. I mean, especially when we're talking about the hydrogen powered, because it's a very unique project that Toyota is doing, and we see a lot of manufacturers going electric. But this approach from Toyota, slightly on a different angle, puts them first on in this type of development. So you know, it's a bet that can pay off.
As you hear, there is still the motorsport sound and everything around it. It's just a little bit greener.
Yes.
Which is great
Yeah.
for the fans as well. I see a few comments saying that you don't want motorsport to die, as in, like, you know, the noise and the vibrations and everything. Obviously, maybe the scent might be a little bit different. It's not gonna be that, you know, in your nose you feel something else probably, but everything else, the sound is very important, I think.
And look at that Z. It's a beautiful car, beautiful lines, and that is the new Z and the old Z, the one the
Oh yes, it was.
Yes. Following the other, and that's the Audi. So
I think also if you read through the Super Taikyu homepage, the reason for this is they just want enthusiasts having, you know, this talk we're having right now.
Right.
Like, look at this car and that car, and oh, isn't it beautiful? And this is the new version, and this is the older version, and this is just so exciting.
We are like 2 people at home watching this, and we're like, we are as curious as you are.
Yes.
So bear with us if we miss something, some information, especially that KTM, which is not the Lotus. We mentioned that again.
Thank you. That was completely on me.
Yeah. And that's the busy team of the station doing the 24-hour Le Mans. Next week they're here doing the 24-hour Fuji, and they are now at the moment. Now
which one are you talking about? Sorry.
The D Station Vantage GT8 R, so they are third place.
Third place of the ST1.
The ST1 class.
Hama-san is driving.
Yeah. That is the Supra, 2 Supras. Or this is an 86.
That's a BRZ.
Right, that's a bit, yeah, that's right. That's Takuto Iguchi who drives
That's
the Super
Iguchi,
GT.
yes.
Yeah.
Well, we have still a long race ahead. Not much happened so far, thankfully.
Yeah.
But the weather is still, you know, it's a little bit too dark. And you see do you see the clouds?
Yeah,
I
see. It looks like there's some rain clouds. We don't know the weather. I haven't checked the forecast,
but as a driver, usually this part of the season is like very sunny, and it gets up to 30 degrees Celsius. Obviously, this weather is much better for you guys, isn't
Yeah, I mean, if it's not too hot, you know, like uh, especially um, going into June, July, August in Japan, it can get so warm. And but a cooler temperature really helps with tire degradation, and also physically driving the car. It just, you know, it's a lot easier. This some of the cool air that comes into the car. In the summer, you just have that hot air that is flowing through the vent,
Oh my gosh.
and it's hard. So
That is hard.
um,
You don't have like
we
the
have
seats don't
we
cool
so
or
we have AC, but that is optional to the driver. The thing is, AC can take a tiny bit of fraction out of the engine, and myself, I like to switch it off quite often because I
Oh,
want to have that
really?
100% power from the engine on acceleration. So I sometimes
Oh,
switch
wow.
on and off depending on the part of the lap. When I don't need so much the engine power, for example, if I'm driving in Suzuka and I'm going through the first sector, which is a kind of flowing left-right,
Yeah.
I don't need to be full throttle there. So I can put the AC on.
I did not know that that is an option. Are you even allowed to say this here?
Well,
Oh wow, I did
yes,
not
I
know
think
that.
many drivers do that.
Oh, interesting.
You know, you can this it's this is you have a switch in the car, and the drivers, yeah, I mean, most teams, most drivers, I think, switch off at some point, especially qualifying. You don't need aircon in qualifying, and
Because it's not
yeah,
too
it's
long.
just one lap, so, and you focus at that one lap, and you sweat a little bit towards the end, but you hope
That's
that you
okay.
can make it. But yeah, sometimes when you're doing like a whole hour, you don't want the sweat running through your eye, and yeah.
Oh wow,
But-
this is something. Why I'm so excited to be here today.
Yeah,
Wow, I did
and
not.
but you
know
know,
that.
that's an evolution because that is the Porsche, the Weimaraner, and so that's an evolution from the. Remember, we had the cool suits many years ago. and
Yes, you did. You
The
did.
cool suits were like, you know, we were wearing those.
The water runs through, right?
The water run the it's like a, yeah, it's a like a gel,
Oh, it's a gel.
and it's very cold, but we had issues with that, and if that stops working, it actually gets warmer than
Oh.
than the usual, you know, so because that gel inside heats up as well instead of just cooling if the cooling box is not working, so you can end up
Being like in a bathtub.
being in a sauna.
Being in a
Like,
sauna.
yeah.
Oh my god.
So
Oh, I did not know.
then they developed the AC because we had some issues with the cool suit, and drivers dehydrating and struggling. So that's
That these are facts that I did not know about. Super
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing.
Yeah. That's Naoya Gamo,
Mhm.
the car number 28 STQ. He raced. You're on board with him. He recently got married.
That was some. Yes, I was about to say that he recently got married to a very, close person who
Yes.
was working in the Super GT series.
That's right.
Amazing,
Yeah.
amazing.
I was
They look so-
surprised.
I was very surprised. Did you know?
I didn't know. Everybody was surprised.
Everybody was. I mean, they kept it quite as a secret, I guess.
That's
No
right.
one knew, so
That's right.
that was a big surprise for me.
Gamo is fast on and off track. So, so
Yeah. But yes, very happy for
Yes.
the two of them.
of course. So we don't have a change in order in the STX class at the moment. Is 888 with a 20 seconds. So the gap increased as Martin Berry is in the car. He has increased that gap to nearly 20 seconds. Remember, it was 6
It
seconds
was 6 seconds.
on the first stint, and Martin has increased that gap. So
And we have Nagai-san and the Lexus RCF
Yeah.
behind him, and then the Daishin GT3.
Nagai-san is a very experienced driver,
Very
and
experienced, yes.
so that is even more meaningful for Martin, who is in that lead with the Grid Motorsports AMG GT3, it's an impressive job that he is doing right now. He's lapping very strong.
Have you had a chance to talk to him
Yes,
before
yes,
coming here?
yes. I've met him, and like I mentioned before, you know, he is very passionate and loves motorsports, and but it's also new for him. So he's learning about being in control of a race team and doing the driving at the same time. And it can be stressful, but you see, he's handling things very well here.
Very well with all the other,
Yes.
you know, cars. Is it his first? I think it's his first time in Fuji. I guess. I know the past years he was racing the past years as well.
But
My bad.
yeah, so he does have motorsport experience, but obviously racing here and especially in this car, this is also a new car for him in the AMG GT3, and you know, he has drivers like Shinichi Takagi as teammates, and that, you know, is very helpful because Takagi is a very experienced driver who can tell, he can feel things that are going on, and also a driver that can kind of lead the team and help engineers understand exactly what's going on. You see, there's a big close there, but yeah, I mean, in 24-hour races, you're gonna have close moments, and
Yep.
you can't avoid them.
Keep your eyes open.
Keep your eyes open and stay fully aware that things can, you know, I mean, the unexpected can expect the unexpected. So
there's a report on the Japanese broadcast. Number 72 is having a pit stop penalty still.
Pit stop penalty.
Pit penalty.
So they have to come in and stop.
What did they do? Well, I mean, obviously, you know, for such a race with all these teams and all these cars, you have like as the same amount of marshals, or you know, just people looking whether the pit, what they do in the pit is according to the regulations. So everyone's keeping an eye, and if you do something wrong, then they just take the penalty.
That's, yes.
And that happens quite a lot during 24-hour races, as far as I know.
Yeah.
It was just probably, I don't know, someone touched the windshield, whereas they were fueling or something around that.
You know.
But there's so much rule around.
Talking about the windshield, you just gave me a memory here that came to my mind.
Oh, what is that? You? No.
That was in Thailand. We were racing, and we were in P3, I believe.
Yes.
And we came.
Did I just intentionally pick that one?
Pit stop, and I jumped out of the car, and I saw that the film that protects the windshield in the front was loose. Was kind of halfway taken away. So, of course, I couldn't just look at that and not do nothing, right?
Oh my God, so that was you!
I picked it up, and and it became almost like a meme between the drivers. They were sending them like, because they were like, JP, like it was, I don't know, they thought it was like a Spider-Man or something. Like the way I grabbed it and I pulled it out, at the moment I didn't feel like I was doing anything wrong, you know, and you know, I was like, I guess I couldn't touch the car. I didn't know the regulation by that point. But then we had the drive-through penalty, and I was like, oh, yeah.
I do remember that, and I am so terribly sorry. I just picked that one penalty out of any other I could have picked.
You know, I don't mind. It's been many years. And,
it's been many years. But I think I was just in front of the car watching the pit stop, because that's my job, and I was like, oh, is that allowed?
Yeah. Oh, well.
Memories.
Living and learning, right?
Living and learning. Oh, yeah. So there was some penalty stuff.
From then on, I learned that I'm a racing driver, not a mechanic. So Fujinami, still in the car, is now running P3. 54 seconds back. Who would wonder that he would recover that much time?
That was quick.
Yeah, you saw that, and he's consistently lapping 41 now, which is quite faster than the two cars ahead. So he's recovering that ground quickly. So one of the things that a driver that has experienced so much experience in Super GT will bring is that confidence of lapping slower cars. That can make such a big difference. The way you lap them, how confident you are making the moves. Because if you're hesitating and not knowing where the car in front of you is going to go and just thinking too much, you can easily lose seconds. You see how he's weaving through the traffic.
Amazing.
And he's staying flat out and just weaving through. But that doesn't come natural to many drivers, and so it's one of the abilities that is required for a good Super GT driver.
Yes. I'm pretty sure that, you know, we have all the motorsport people watching this right now, so maybe that's a great appeal.
Yeah.
Because usually, you know, 300s are lapped by.
Yeah, but you know what? You know what I found out after being for, I think, 13 or 14 years in GT 500, and then going to the 300. I actually was surprised that the same way that the 500s can gain time by passing the 300s, the 300s can gain time by knowing where to kind of lift and not, like, because there's a way that you place your car on the track, let's say, that you can gain time by not having the 500 overtake you in a critical part of the lap.
And because you know, have all these experience, you know which driver does which move.
Yeah.
So that's the beauty about Super GT.
Yeah.
I miss it so much.
Yeah.
But wow, so that's something you learned.
We will talk to J Sports and get you back in the paddock. Yeah, I mean.
No, but that's great learning, you know.
Yeah.
That there is this, you have both weapons now. You know which way to drive.
Right.
When you're the one which is quicker or which is slower. So.
Yeah. Yeah. There's there are drivers who are quite experienced in GT 300. Very, very experienced. Takagi is one of them, of course. Taniguchi. Drivers who Orido-san. They're like also legends in drift, and they have so much good car control and so much experience on four wheels that sometimes a 500 driver would envy those car skills that they have. You know, I know some of the 500 drivers, they like to drift. For example, Tsugio Matsuda, he loves to go and try to drift cars, right?
Yes.
He has many drift cars. I'm not sure how many, but I'm saying many, but it could be a few, maybe one or two or more. More than two, I think.
Probably.
Yeah, I've seen him take pictures, but Tsugio loves to drift, but to drift like Taniguchi or Orido-san is something else. It's a different type of skill. We are not used to, as race drivers, we are used to having the grip and having the car pointing straight. Now, when you have a car pointing into the wall, it doesn't feel natural. It doesn't feel like you're in your comfort zone. You know, so that's the kind of caliber of drivers that are in Super GT and in the 300 class. So.
Very interesting. Right, let's look into the rankings.
Do we have on our stream, do we have any questions? I wonder.
I love how everyone is interacting with each other.
Yeah.
Maybe if everyone can just drop in from where you're looking from where you're watching from. I'm pretty sure there's a lot of time difference.
Yeah.
So incredible if you are probably in the US right now, it's like midnight, I guess.
That's right, depending on where you are.
Yes, or in Europe, you just woke up.
Yeah.
So probably would be nice for us to see,
Warming up.
who's
Yeah.
listening from where.
Warming up for the 24-hour of Le Mans next week, and
Yep.
yeah.
Or I don't know if there is someone who
Look over there. Let me see.
This is the beauty of the 24-hour race.
24-hour racing. You're
mean,
there.
yeah,
you're
it's
meeting fellow motorsport fans. You're barbecuing with them.
It's happy hour.
Talking about barbecuing in the 24-hour of Nürburgring, literally drivers say that they can feel. I didn't feel, but I heard drivers.
You did not?
I did not feel, but some drivers they told me like they could feel, they could sense the smell of barbecue, and I'm like, wow. I mean, I'm not sure, but yeah, because there's a lot of barbecue going on there. Like,
Oh my god, the amount of bratwurst being made on the track on that weekend is apparently it's unbelievable.
You know,
it's really unbelievable.
I think they had like 200,000 people last weekend.
They did. It was full. It was packed.
It is.
It looked amazing.
I've been there only one time, and when people ask me what would you love to do in motorsports, what would be like your ultimate thing to do, I always answer like, I have to go back to the Nürburgring 24, because is a different type of 24. Le Mans is a legendary race, and it's got the glamour, and it's everyone, the top teams and drivers are there.
It has a different touch.
It's a different touch, right?
Yeah.
But it's got all the spotlight on the Fuji, on the 24-hour Le Mans. But then the 24-hour Nürburgring, it's, in my opinion, the most raw type of racing. It is a jungle out there. It is a jungle. You feel like you feel like you're battling lions around the track. That's how it feels, because sometimes a racing driver, if you're hearing me, you will know. If it starts raining and you're on slicks on the Nürburgring, on the Nordschleife, which has no off track, like no
ice skating.
Oh my God! I could tell for hours experiences at the Nürburgring that, I mean, a driver has to feel that, because it's a unique experience that gives you so much depth of knowledge. Like, I didn't know that like I could like be in that position, and I was like, oh my God, this is and because of that, it's the thrill that makes you want to go back. So this is it. So I want to really go back and race there. If you ask me 24-hour Le Mans or Nürburgring, I want to go back to Nürburgring.
Oh, interesting. Wow.
Yeah, I love so much everything around there. So
me too. As experiencing both of the races, Nürburgring it's just so unique to itself. And for me, I would love to just go back there, have a tent, probably with my future family or so, and just
and enjoy.
enjoy.
And just relax, see the cars. There's some strategic points around the Nürburgring that there's some points that there's so many fans standing, because the cars are coming straight at them, and corners which are high speed, and the fans are just right there. So when you're driving, you almost feel like you're going towards them at some point of the lap, because you go into the top of a crest, and as you start to come down, the fans are right in front of you, and you take like this high speed right turn. It's like, forgive me for not knowing the name of the corner now, because that's one of the 178 corners that are around the track. So
no, but I know which corner you're talking about, but I just cannot.
One with
where you type, like they write with crayons. Well, yeah,
right? Well, they write in many different points, but there's a lot of writing there, a lot of graffiti.
Yes,
right?
yes. That corner, I love it too.
I can share something that is interesting. Well, when the engineer would say that there's a yellow flag at some part of the lap, and and I didn't know the name of the corner, I would always ask, is it before the carousel or after the carousel, or before the second carousel? Is it between the first and the second, or is it after the second? So I needed to know at what stage of the lap, because it's hard to memorize. And names are in German, remember?
They are in German.
Yeah.
Yes. The carousel is easy to remember,
Yes.
you know, and it looks like a carousel. So
Yeah, yeah, and
easy.
it's one of the things I most looked forward before driving in the Nürburgring. Driving that carousel is like, yeah, it's I think any driver that drives, you know, in the video game or in the simulator, they love to drive that track, and then driving that corner is just unique. You just take the wall on the inside, and you drive, you know, almost like a vertical to the ground. So it's really, really unique.
How much do you train? Like you train with the simulator.
Yeah.
But how much?
So
Actually.
especially for that race, I think the simulator is the most important for that specifically. It's really, really important. When you start driving there, you want to really be sure where you're going. You're not going to memorize it easily, but if you do the simulator, things are going to come much more natural, right? And yeah, nowadays, you know, the young drivers, they go into the circuits and they have the speed is there right away. So they used to be in the past, you would see big differences between drivers going into a new track because there was no sim. So you would see a driver that has a more natural ability to understand the track and start pushing. And nowadays, it's like who practice more in the sim, you know. But it's all, you know, it's the development. It's all because it's also the cost effectiveness. So you know,
I remember that, you know, when COVID started, that all of the drivers were getting simulators to their houses.
That's right.
Yes.
I was one of them.
Oh, you were. You were one
I was one of them.
You know, yeah, that's what, you know, COVID made or
Yeah,
gave
we
us,
were
I guess.
we were organizing like this big group of drivers. I think we had a group on WhatsApp with 150 drivers.
Oh wow,
and,
amazing.
You know, Lando Norris was there, and like all of the DTM drivers. So it was like really, really fun, and people, and you know, everyone was like, well, some drivers were organizing the race, and we were all joining. So it was really fun. Something
That
happened
is
here.
amazing.
Are we?
I think that was for second place
second
in
place.
the STZ class, and Tsuboi
Yeah.
was behind, and I think he
So he overtook.
overtook.
Waima.
He tried quite a few times, and then he got it.
Is it Waima Renna?
Where is it?
That's the Porsche.
Yeah, that's the Porsche, the Cayman.
So they are fighting for position. Well,
They are, and it's just been 2 hours. That's the car number 60 in the pits,
ST4.
doing some maintenance in the
G-Motion.
front. Yep, that's SD4. Team G.
Yep.
Yeah, I think we also do, in course of the day, we get better looking at the time chart, looking
Yeah.
at the car numbers,
Yeah.
remembering them.
It's well, yeah, I mean, it's a 24-hour race, and yeah, I mean,
It's not something which happens every week or every month.
no. So we bear with us.
Bear with us.
We are doing the best we can to.
So it looks like a lot of people from different continents.
Really?
Australia, 5:45 p.m. Who do we have? There's someone at 8:45 a.m. That was, 10 minutes ago when they put it in Honduras,
Are there any
Indonesia.
questions that they?
Wow.
asking.
Jersey, Germany. Questions?
Send us questions.
Send us questions. I have a question, JP.
Yeah.
Aren't you the longest international driver in Japan?
I think that is probably going to Ronnie Quintarelli. But
Oh, Ronnie-san.
I actually wait. I don't know if that counts. I think Ronnie is Japanese.
Ronnie is Japanese.
Ronnie is Japanese. Sorry,
but,
Italy.
No, but I think you and him.
Yeah.
Possibly. Wow. How many years?
So
it
Ronnie
been?
arrived 1 year prior to me. So
Oh, that's like
that was 2003, and Ronnie started in Japan in 2003, and I started 2004. So we raced each other in Formula 3.
That's so long.
Yeah.
Over 20 years now.
Yeah, 20 years of racing each other.
Wow. Incredible.
Yeah, we aged together.
I don't know if I may ask.
Yeah.
How do you reflect on these 20 years?
Well, you know, we, especially talking about Ronnie, we have a huge mutual respect for each other. We often talk to each other through, messages and congratulating each other. And Ronnie has always been very kind, and he's mentioned many times that I have been one of the drivers that has pushed him towards being a better racing driver. I like to hear that,
amazing.
because that is usually what I think of the best drivers I have raced against. If I look back at my career, and there he is.
I think they're hearing us.
They're hearing us.
They are hearing us. There he is. That's right.
There is.
Okay, now out of the picture, but
There it is, Ronnie Quintarelli.
oh wow. But yes, it's amazing that you give compliments to each other while you are the biggest rivals. That's
Yeah, so
the best relationship.
like as I was saying, like I often think that the toughest drivers that I compete against, the hardest battles, the ones that really kind of get you on the edge of everything, like it gets you really to make mistakes or to thrive and to do really more than you actually thought you could do. Those are the drivers that make you a better driver. And I'm glad that Ronnie can say that, because I can say the same. And I can say the same about, Andre, who I competed against for many years in Formula Nippon, and so many other drivers, being teammates with Kazuki Nakajima, and so many. So I don't know if I can mention so many names, but
There must be yes.
there are lots of drivers that you feel that you have to step it up. You have to, like, because the speed is there on the other side, and you need to kind of have something else that to beat them. You know what I mean? So that's those are the most difficult guys to beat. So.
Amazing. Like you grew with them.
Yeah.
Along with them. So it's really nice.
Yeah, and we're still going.
You are still going, yes. It's
40
not
plus.
in the past, yes. Oh, you're 40.
40.
You turned 40.
Actually, yeah. Oof, maybe I should say that.
Congratulations.
I'm still looking. I'm still looking for seats, guys. So at 40, they're like, oh, you see, maybe he's not that young anymore.
No. Still young.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, 40 is young, so.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't get me wrong. Look at all these,
40 is the new 30.
Takagi-san. 40 is the new 30.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
Let's take that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
Well,
is
great. Yes, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Apparently, there is going to be a report from the camping scene soon, so let's look forward to that.
Yeah.
Until that, maybe there was a question.
Wow.
I don't know if you can answer it or if you are allowed to answer it. I just throw it to you, okay?
Okay.
So which one of the cars you drove you loved the most?
Ooh. There's so many. Well, I think it would be a really cliche if I say a Formula One car, because I mean, obviously driving, driven a test with Williams F1 team back in 2006. Oh, there she is.
Oh, that is.
Shima.
Oh, so there is a report from the chill out base. Yes, so this is my, how do you say? She does the pit reporting for Super GT now.
She's doing what you used to do.
Oh, it's amazing. There are a lot of people, she's saying.
Yeah. What are they doing there? That's a Toyota Racing.
Ashiyu is hot spring for your feet.
Hot spring for, oh my God, we need that. We need that in the studio.
Oh, we need that in the studio.
Yeah, we need that.
And also, they have some Japanese dishes like mochi. Oh,
I
that's
could eat
nice.
mochi
I
and
could eat
have my feet
Me too.
in the hot spring.
Oh wow, is this is inside of like that's in the track, you know?
Yeah, I think that's
Is that-
it's a gravel. It's in the parking lot. I think one of the parking lots.
Oh, and some activities for the kids.
Yeah,
You
the-
can make candles.
Yeah.
What is this?
Oh,
Oh, you can paint on shirts.
Okay, maybe you're inspired by the sound of the racing cars going by and you
Yeah, you just
create
paint
a
a
cool design.
Yes. Oh, okay, so all of this space is the energy is from hydrogen. So they use hydrogen energy for all. So also that screen in the back,
Okay.
it runs with hydrogen.
Well, it's a charging station.
Charging station with hydrogen. I would like to charge my phone with hydrogen. How long do you think that takes?
I wonder.
I wonder.
Interesting. I mean, iPhone batteries don't last that long anyway, so they never last long enough.
It's great to have all these spectators. So
Yeah.
many.
Yeah.
What else is there? This is great. It's not only, of course, the race is important, but
Yeah.
as in Nürburgring,
Yeah.
you have the barbecue and all
Yeah.
this entertainment going on.
You
We
have-
have it here too.
Yeah, yeah. You have so much going on usually.
I think this is inside of the Dunlop, isn't it?
Ah,
I should
right.
not mention
Yes.
that name because
Yeah.
it's Hankook
Yes.
this time, but
Well, no, but that's the name of the corner.
that's
so
the name of the corner. So.
we also, we have
Oh,
other
wow.
logos on the straight that are Advan, and, so that's
That was
that's all.
very true.
No problem.
But that's great, having entertainment.
Yeah.
Sometimes, it's probably too much watching
Yeah, it's
24 hours straight.
It's tough on everyone. It's tough for the especially if you're a family and the kids the kids want to do something else, you can take that break. But it's definitely hard for a family
For a
with
family.
kids for a 24-hour. I don't know how to handle that.
That is very true.
That's very tough. So the Grid Motorsport car leading the race by 25 seconds, but Fujinami is taking that margin down. But
25 seconds to go.
25 seconds, but Martin Berry keeping a strong pace in the Grid Motorsports, and he is 25 seconds ahead of Fujinami. And the lap time difference at the moment is 0.7 of a second in favor of Fujinami. But obviously there's a huge experience difference between both of them. So incredible that pace from Martin Berry through traffic. And so he's doing a very good job managing that car in the front.
Yes. So JP, sorry, I think the report just cut into your favorite car.
Ah, that's right. So
Or did you not want me to?
Yeah, like I mean, to be honest, like I don't know if I can be that accurate because I would have to think because I drove so many different cars and categories. It's
That
like
is very true. It would be hard to
WTCR,
pick.
F1, F3000, Formula Nippon, Super Formula, Super GT, GT3s. And so I think one of the most um, like I would say emblematic cars that I drove was the Calsonic. So the the Calsonic GTR had an aura around it, right? Some people call it the, well, I actually started it. I said that it was the blue Shinkansen around Fuji Speedway, and the
No, but the
fans.
blue has a color name.
Yeah, and the fans really took that, and a lot of fans would come to the track and call it the Aoi Shinkansen. And so I think it's up there on my list of
Amazing.
of incredible cars that I've driven. So yeah, but I enjoyed every car in a different way, and every car has a different characteristic. As a driver, you really have to tweak your driving style a little bit in order to take the best out of the car. So it's your job as a driver. Oh, we have that BRZ is just turning in on Martin Berry, but he's clear and he's going through traffic. It's some nervous moments, of course, as you go through traffic.
And it's getting darker, so probably visibility.
So Fujinami's taking that gap down. It's now at 21 seconds. 21 seconds and 8 tenths.
Yep. Probably it's been, almost more than 2 hours now.
Yeah, it's been
2 hours and 10 minutes almost.
Yes.
Oh, quicker than I thought.
Time is going.
Time is going.
We've been talking for 2 hours, Amy.
We are.
Yeah.
I think we should be proud of ourselves, just because the Japanese broadcasting team they are on the second stint already. From like 40 minutes ago. We are still on our first stint.
Yeah, so they are outnumbering us.
They are.
In terms of people.
Quite impressive, though.
Yeah.
I'm really enjoying this. It's obviously our first try.
Yeah.
And I don't think we should just, talk straight through what is happening in the race.
Yeah.
Because it's just 24 hours.
It is a 24-hour race, and if you are going through every detail, things, I mean, it can get quite exhausting.
It can.
But yeah, this is so far like there hasn't been any big action happening in terms of any accident, or we had some cars with tire failure, but safely making it back to the pits. So far, maybe through the night there's going to be a little bit more drama.
There will be, for sure.
Yeah.
There's a compliment from Taylor.
Yep.
Please talk forever. We love the English broadcast.
Oh, thank you.
That gives us courage.
Yeah,
we're
that keeps us
beeping through
going.
like the cars. So.
That keeps us going. I'm soon going to need my coffee. Because as I was telling Amy before I came, I was like, I woke up early today for my bike ride. I do my training early in the morning, and yeah.
What time did you wake up?
I woke up at 3, Amy. 3.
Is that even a time to wake up?
Yeah, it's
wow.
I'm not crazy though, but
I mean, you post a lot of your bike rides.
Yeah.
And it's great to see, how active you are in there. So what did you do?
So
it's how intense was it?
It's let's see. There's a slow car there. Just wonder we can jump into that. But slow car. The camera is on him. So is that a GT? No. So this is a Toyota. He's going straight. So it might.
Oh, where's he going? That's a Supra. Oh, so I think intentionally leaving the track probably.
Yeah, the ST.
But why is he's not slow?
Who is driving that car? Is that the 310? So they're in second place at the moment.
Ooh, that's Tsuboi Sho.
Tsuboi driving,
yes.
and
he must know what he's doing.
Yeah, so it could be fuel. It could be fuel. You know why? Because if he went straight through that chicane, maybe he doesn't trust that the car is gonna make up the hill if it slows down too much.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That's an option.
I think
he has been out. It was no. He hasn't been out that long.
Really? Oh. Well,
I hear.
he must have a problem. I see a
Yes,
little
it's
bit of
just a little bit
weaving,
weaving, yeah.
so he must have some different sort of issue. But, they would probably do a full stop, maybe change driver, refuel, and maybe not change driver. But maybe the other driver could not be ready in time in some circumstances like that. It's just. But we see what's going on.
Yeah.
There's a tire going out at the back. Yeah, so they're changing the right side only for now, not the left as well.
No, the left as well.
But they are not looking into
No.
anything else specifically. So I think
it's
it
just,
could be
as you
just down to
said,
the tire.
yeah.
It could be. The refueling still going. Yeah, so.
They were changing the pressure on the tires a little bit, I guess.
Okay, so.
Maybe it was too low.
Maybe.
Or too high, but either way.
So, yeah, it's not ideal if the car comes in unexpectedly like that, because then you see the mechanics were running around to get tires and maybe adjust something, adjust pressure. Taking a little bit of time. Yeah, well, he's get going again. So it was probably a tire issue. We couldn't see the right rear. So it could have been that.
But nothing, I think.
He's back in the race, 24 hours. He's not a lap down, so there will be plenty of time to catch up.
Yes, but you see, looking at on the home straight after this, there's so much debris already, like marbles.
Yeah, the marbles. Yeah,
and it's only been 2 hours now.
Yeah.
This is going to how I mean, you don't have too much space anymore because obviously you don't want to drive through it, right?
Yeah. Well, but by the end of the race, it becomes almost you don't have an alternative. If you have to overtake someone, you have to put yourself into those marbles, and at the end of the race, these cars, they are full of like the rubber that comes out from these tires. You know, when you see the cars after a 24-hour race, some people, the real passionate people about motorsports, they just love that look of the car after the 24-hour because that's just the genuine. that's been through a war.
Yes.
You know. So when you see the cars that finish Le Mans, Nürburgring.
Yes, I'm one of them. I'm definitely one of them. And you know, in Japanese, we have this magical word, otsukaresama. And I say that to every machine. Like, how would you explain otsukaresama? Like, great job.
Right, yes, yeah.
So I love after the 24-hour races, going into the, what's that called? You know, inspection area.
Yeah, the
saying,
park for me.
Yeah, the park for me. Just, you know, they just went through so much. Obviously drivers as well, obviously the team as well, but it was the car which was out there 24 hours.
Yeah.
With all the, you know, tapes and everything.
Oh my God, yes.
So
you know, like sometimes some of the GT3 cars, they are so strong that they can withstand a lot of like contact through a 24-hour race. So sometimes you have like accidents and so on, and you might have like a bent steering, and it's not ideal if you have to drive like, let's say, more than half of the race with a steering that's not straight, but that car still can go fast. I've driven cars before that you would be like, oh, like that's a lot of damage, but you can still turn some pretty reasonable lap times, so you have to drive it anyway. It's annoying because as a race car driver, you don't want that feeling of driving with a very bent steering on the straight. but you have to drive it, and it's part of 24-hour racing. You just have to adapt and race with what you're given. So.
Yeah. Is there like a routine, or not only the 24-hour race? You've raced in endurance races, 6 hours, 12 hours, and stuff. When you get out of the car, is there like a routine for you, or?
When I get out of the car, I think I like to focus on what I have to do. So I try to leave other drivers alone and not like mingle with what they're doing too much. So whenever I'm out of the car, I go into my zone. I go into the back. I relax and I try to focus on what I have to do next. And every driver takes it different. Some drivers like to be on the radio and see everything that's going on and be fully active with what's going on. I think it's important to know what's going on, but also to kind of relax a little bit and disconnect. It's just a different approach, you know. Yeah, I mean, I think it's down to the driver, the character, how you see things. So many camping going on there. Look at that.
I wish to do that too.
Yeah, we hope for no rain, because some of them are on the hill. Like, yeah.
I remember it was 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Where the Fuji 24, like half of the race was just
full
in rain.
That's right.
That was, I remember. That was 2 years ago.
Yeah.
It was in rain, and then
the race was only half.
Yeah, because it was red flag all the time.
Yeah.
But broadcast goes on.
It's
on air, so that was hard for me because I had to do all these interviews. I remember.
Yeah.
What a year.
Yeah.
So if you think of that, maybe it's better not to ask for too much rain.
Right.
It gives a spice to the race, to be honest.
That's a point of view, like, I mean, that I didn't know. So.
That is very true.
So we see this, like on the home straight, you saw on the signboard there, we saw a black and white flag to the car number 885. So I actually saw that on the home straight. I'm not looking at any monitor and seeing that. So I'm wondering why is that? So maybe it's just a warning usually. So the driver probably did something that the stewards were not too happy with. There's the KTM coming into the pits.
It's the leader of the ST1 class. That was Kato-san driving.
That Kato is driving right now. Yeah. Kato is one of the drivers that I know for a very long time in Japan. And this is a curious fact. The first ever test I did in Japan, Kato was my teammate.
Oh, really?
Yes. So this is back in 2003. I came to Suzuka to drive for Lola Dome at the time. Dome was developing their own chassis, and Kato was their development driver. So I was compared to Kato to be offered a contract to come to Japan. So this is, and Kato is, is a very, very fast driver. Everybody knows Japan for being so fast. So is one of the drivers I still have a long relation, because he is marked in, in my career as the first guy that I met in Japan, first race driver.
Incredible story.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, and sometimes he goes, he practices on the simulator in the same place I go to, because we have a friend in common who has a studio in central Tokyo, and we go there to practice. So sometimes I see him there working hard to, this motorsports keeps changing, and like for the older drivers, more experienced drivers, sometimes hard to keep up with all the innovation and everything that's going on. That's what we see everywhere. We see in Formula One also less experienced teammates beating more experienced teammates.
Yes.
Why? Because cars keep changing so fast, so much, that the advantage the more experienced guys go away. Because you just,
Okay.
everything you learn almost gets reset. So, so it's for, like I was saying, so Kato is like, doing simulator, and he's, not the youngest, not a very young driver, well, like myself, but yeah, so keeping up on the sim is very important.
So they did have a driver's change, so
Yeah.
it's changed from Kato to Takahashi.
Oh,
Takahashi, he has been racing for such a long time, and for me personally, it's really impressive that it shows you still can drive even though you're a little bit older than the others.
that's right, yeah. And, it's not often that we see a driver at that age, that fast, that competitive, right? So, yeah, it proves to people that you can still do it. If you have it in your blood, you put your mind to it, you can still do it. And age is just a number.
Age is just a number, and I think
I think it was Kazuyoshi Hoshino, sorry to interrupt
Yes,
you, but
no,
I think
no,
it was
of course.
Kazuyoshi Hoshino that raced in Formula Nippon until 50 years old or 48.
Yeah, I think so.
Or
I think so.
I'm not quite sure the age that he
That is
stopped
so impressive.
in Formula Nippon. But when I first drove Formula Nippon around Suzuka on the high grip tires, like European drivers that would come to drive Formula Nippon, they would be like, do a qualifying lap, and we would look at each other in a driver's briefing and say, how are we going to handle 48, 50 laps with that much grip and
Yes.
that much, it's so physical.
Yes.
That those cars had no power steering, remember? So we're not talking about, of course, nowadays all cars have power steering.
Yes.
But back then, cars didn't have power steering, and
How heavy? How can you explain it?
It was ridiculously heavy.
Oh my
It
God.
was so heavy. I remember actually calling off, and not only me, because speaking to other drivers, they have the same, actually backing out of a lap because you just didn't have enough power to keep pushing.
Really? Oh,
This is in qualifying.
Yes.
For example, at Suzuka, you have to handle a stick shift or like a sequential gearbox. So
Yes.
you push, so you basically going into turn
Yes,
one
of course.
with one hand and no power steering. So you go into turn one in 6th gear, and you're going, down to 5th, but that steering wheel is like, I don't know, you're turning like how many, 20, 30 kilos to the right,
Yes.
and there's so much grip in that attack lap that you would finish the attack lap, but then if you go for a second lap, it would be really challenging to just go through sector 1 because it's such a high speed, and when you're turning with one hand and shifting with the other without power steering, you have to live in the gym. You have to be,
That is so true.
You have to be
wow,
so strong.
how the way you put it, you just put it. It's just like we see in the movies, and then you think, oh, then recently racing it has become a little bit easier probably for you
Yes,
guys.
and I remember when we first had the power steering come into, and we were like, oh my God, this is so easy, and and the assist, that's just like when you turn into the corner, the assist is helping, and so being part of that development, you just understand like how things develop and then how things go forward, but also become easier. So
Which one do you prefer?
well, old school drivers, I would prefer, actually, so throughout my career, I had to adapt to many racing cars, and one of the adaptations I had to make was changing from from braking with my right foot to change it to the left foot braking.
Oh,
And
that is true.
it's not
That
always
shift happened as well.
it's not natural to brake with the left foot at first because your left foot is usually heavier. Um, it's like you just have, usually you develop your sensibility on the right foot throughout the years. And that sensibility is very important when you're braking and approaching corners, and how you release the brakes is the most, I would say, the most important thing to how to control and balance the car through the corner, entering a corner, is how you release the brakes. So if, oh, we have a problem here.
Oh.
That's the ST2.
Oh, that doesn't look good.
Yeah, so
Right.
ST2 class car number, is that, wait, let's see.
This is the top car, I think.
Is it?
It was.
Is it 225? So it's the
was the year.
KTMS.
The Yaris.
Yeah, Yaris.
Oh, that's very unfortunate.
Yeah, well, let's see if it's something they can fix, but they're bringing the extinguisher. Let's hope it doesn't need to be used.
The driver is Arakawa. Arakawa Rin is in the car. Let's see. Oh, but apparently, let's see. Oh, that didn't.
Yeah, he definitely has some. As long as he can get back to the pits, and there's some misfire going on. Let's hope that doesn't.
Yes, so
turn
his
into-
pits is the B tower. There's quite a stretch to get to the pits.
Quite clearly, something is not right here.
It's not right. Are you supposed to drive even though it misfires like that?
It can. Misfire is not something that we don't see. I mean, we see it happen sometimes, but it depends on the car, and we don't know. I mean, the team would know. The team would probably kind of imagine the issue they're having and know if it's a terminal issue or not. So let's see what's going to happen to them. That's the Z.
Hopefully they can get back.
Is that the 230? Yes.
Yes.
Who is driving the 230?
It's Ronnie.
Ronnie.
Ronnie San still on the wheels.
Yeah. Carbon neutral fuel.
I think it's his very first 24-hour race.
Wow.
I think, if I'm not mistaken. And he was very excited about it.
Yeah.
And I mean, look at the team members. It's those.
Yeah.
those faults.
Yeah, I think they are enjoying it, and at the same time helping Nissan with the development.
Yes.
And yeah, I think they all have the mentality to, of course, they want to finish the race and bring it home, and then learn, which is their aim. Their main aim for this race is to learn, further improve the development of the Z.
I'm very curious about the catering they are having. Probably someone is cooking Italian for them.
Yeah.
It's pretty interesting to walk around in a paddock doing the 24-hour Fuji race.
Yeah, if you want to meet Ronnie on the race weekends, speaking maybe to some of the fans out there, you usually go to the Italian restaurants at every track. There's like always an Italian restaurant that he's having dinner at this. So
he is not 100% Japanese yet.
Well, I think the home food is always something you just look forward to.
JP, it seems that we only have 2 minutes left.
Oh,
I did not forget to watch.
Well, our stint was shorter than I predicted.
Me too. Oh my God. But thank you so much for sharing all the information, and I hope everyone enjoyed what we talked about today. Obviously, the race is gonna go on. The English commentary is going to rest a little bit, and we will see each other tomorrow at 12:30 Japan Pacific time, I would say, I guess.
Thank you to everyone who's been following, watching us, asking questions, sending where you're from. And please tell your friends to come back whenever we join the broadcast again tomorrow.
Yes. So at the moment, it looks like there's not too much, troubles or stuff going on. But I'm pretty sure
Yeah.
that we have a lot to catch up
I think so.
when we come back tomorrow.
We will need a full report.
I will work on that.
Yeah.
So again, thank you everyone for listening. And JP, thank you so much.
Thank you, Amy.
Yeah, let's look forward to a nice, fun 24-hour race. You can watch on the Japanese broadcast, so please do that. You will not have the English commentary until tomorrow, but it was a pleasure doing this for the very first time. So from wherever you are listening, thank you very much, and we will see you again in about 20, 19, 18 hours. All right, so see you tomorrow again.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Bye-bye.